Hey, everybody, welcome to Jen Lowry Writes. Okay, today we're in the Writing Warriors for Jesus conference. This is our fall author conference, and our keynote speaker is here with us in the house today. Hello, Dale Roberts.
What is going on, Jen Lowry?
Oh, it's so nice to have you here. And guys, if you didn't know about Dale Roberts, you're about to know, and you need to go and sign up for everything he's got going on online, and you need to go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Dale Roberts is a self-publishing advocate, fitness author, and video content creator. Dale's inherent passion for life fuels his self-publishing advocacy both in print and online. After publishing over 40 titles and becoming a multiple international best-selling and award-winning author, Dale started his YouTube channel, Self-Publishing with Dale. Voted by FeedSpot among the top 100 websites and top 50 YouTube channels devoted to self-publishing, Dale cemented his position as the go-to author authority in the indie author community. Dale currently lives with his wife, Kelly, and cat Easy in Columbus, Ohio. And I want to say thank you, Dale, from all of us here. And we are ready to hear all that you have to share with us today. So thanks, Dale.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. I'm super stoked. Now, folks, I'm just going to go ahead and lay a little bit of groundwork here. The very first thing is going to be I know this is a keynote speech, and most times when you show up to an in-person conference, there is some type of a takeaway that you can have. There's going to be some type of inspiration or motivation you're going to go ahead and derive from that. And that's my plan, is I want to light your wick. I want to get things going. But here's the thing, is I'm a live streamer at heart. And since we're doing a virtual event such as this, and you're watching this live and potentially on the replay, do me a huge favor. I want you to make some noise. Say something in the chat. What are you currently working on? What are some of the pain points that you have? Shout out what city you're going to be watching from right now. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, enjoying it. It's beautiful weather out here today. And also share this on social. Just grab that little share feature, put it on out there and bring it on in here. In fact, I told Jen, pick 5 people at the end of the broadcast who are active inside the comments and inside the chat. And they're going to go ahead and get the entire Amazon Self-Publisher series from me personally. So stay active. That's going to be the most important thing. All right. So I've got this nifty little slideshow, but I'm going to assure you we're going to stay on the rails here one way or another. So let me go ahead and pull up my notes, because that's what we got to do. More than an author, I want to, by the time we're done with this, get it to where you understand that just writing the book is great. Writing for the sake of the craft is okay. But if you really want to make a substantial impact in the world and also in your own personal life, you have to think of yourself more than an author. We're going to be discussing different ways to monetize your brand and not just the books. So we'll kind of dabble into that. The very first thing I want to do is I'm going to look at the live chat right now, and I see Tish says, cozy mystery writer, Houston, Texas. Awesome. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And from Columbus, Diana. Nice. Love me some North Carolina. It's actually where I grew up. Shouting out from the top of my lungs. Good stuff. Luke Siebert says, I'm getting ready to publish my memoir and also working on editing a contemporary novel. Fantastic. All right. Keep the comments coming. All right. Because if you would like to win a copy of the Amazon Self-Publisher free of charge, you're going to get picked at the very end of this broadcast. Got to stick around if you find out if you win. All right, here we go. Let's get it started out. I'm going to talk about the old idiom, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This means to put all your eggs in one basket means you risk losing everything by having only one plan or idea and depend entirely on it for success. And as you can kind of see inside this little screen share here, there's this basket. It's got a couple broken eggs. Can you imagine we drop that basket? It's going to shatter all of those things. Let me give you a real life example. In fact, I'm going to give you 2 real life examples. Now, I'm going to protect the name of the guilty on this particular occasion here. We're just going to call this man John. John broke into the business right about the same time I did, about 2015. He got into romance publishing. He really went all in on things. And the man pumped out Kindle book after Kindle book after Kindle book. No print books, no audiobooks, because he was told, hey, look, just stick to this because that's what's going to drive you a great amount of revenue. And he did. He did quite well. In fact, you fast forward a couple years later, this man was pulling in 6 figures per month, meaning he was pulling in almost $100,000 per month, sometimes more, just from KDP and doing Kindle ebooks. Crazy, right? Until it wasn't crazy. In fact, it went in the other direction of crazy. So much so, Kindle Direct Publishing said, yeah, we're done with you. They terminated his account. They didn't give him a reason why. They didn't give him a warning. Here he was left with nothing. He had a great time, highest of highs, to all of a sudden the lowest of lows. He did not have that income. He did not have additional publications elsewhere. He didn't have a website. He didn't have an email list. He essentially had Amazon's customers, and he was getting Amazon's money until Amazon said, hey, I'm done with you. Now, let me give you another opposite side of the spectrum. See how John's very miserable in this picture, and his wife is pretty upset. Her wallet's empty. This right here is an actual person, J. Bruce Jones. Now, Bruce does not know me personally. I followed him back when I first got into self-publishing in about 2015-ish. I think when I saw him on YouTube at the time. Now, there's something very telling when I say YouTube, because if you try to search up J. Bruce Jones these days on YouTube, you won't find him. Now, Bruce does run a successful self-publishing business and quite a gem. He really gives of himself entirely. But one day, YouTube, for whatever reason, said, you know what? We decided you're not allowed on this platform. They just banned him. They pretty much said you're linking too much off of the platform. But thankfully, Bruce already knew the name of the game, and that's diversification. You're going to start to hear this word a lot during my talk. Diversify. Because the more you diversify, the less eggs you have in one basket. Thankfully, Bruce already had a following on Facebook. He had an email list. He had his publications. He was diversified. So when he had the rug pulled out from underneath him on YouTube, he's like, okay, I'll just go over to Vimeo. He took his audience with him. It was amazing. So we look at John, where he lost everything and had to start from scratch. And then we look at Bruce, who said, you know what? I'm trying to diversify. This might be a good idea. We're going to go deeper into the weeds, and you're going to understand why I shared these two stories as we kind of go along and understand the value that I'm trying to give to you. And I implore you that some of these options may not make sense for you right now, but at least put a pen into it and come back to it later, because I promise you, it'll make a huge world of a difference. Now, even though Jen went through and gave a little bit of a background on me, I think it's important that we kind of reiterate some of these things. That way you're not kind of go, oh, here's another one of these blowhard, quote unquote, experts. And I don't like to call myself an expert because it kind of feels weird. I like to call myself an advocate, if you will, a self-publishing advocate. I've been an international best-selling author on Amazon in various regions, not in some random niche categories that you get one sale on it and you're a bestseller. No, we're talking like hundreds of downloads within a given day to hit the bestsellers list in places like US, UK, Canada, Brazil, Australia, so on and so forth. I'm also been a 14-time award-winning author. I am a self-publishing advocate and also a video content creator. I've published over 50 books. I know I should have probably updated my bio before I gave that to Jen, but I've done over 50 books underneath my own name alone, Dale L. Roberts, and over 3,000 titles with my own publishing company alone, and produced over 800 videos in the past, 5 years now. It's crazy for me to think about this. And it's afforded me so many things in life. It's afforded me a lifestyle in which I could pay my bills and have a little bit of money left over at the end of the day. That I can live life on my own terms. My unlikely story really it starts out with the fact I started in the healthcare industry. I was actually in the healthcare business as an activities director, and I was paid to play with senior citizens. I was getting paid pretty well. I was happy, but I wasn't entirely all in, because I got to tell you that there's nothing that I love more than my wife and being with her and my cat. It really tickles me to death. What's the thing that makes your day? What's your ultimate goal in life? For me, it was being able to live life on my own terms and spend time with my wife. So when I got into the business self-publishing in 2014, I launched my book in the very first month. I made $21.51. That's right. I had to actually put this in my notes because I always forget. It's like 21 something or rather. But either way, it was enough proof of concept to tell me, you know what? I'm going to get into this business. So I literally put my 30 days notice in to become a self-published full-time author. And the next 2 years was horrible. I struggled like nobody's business. I burnt through all of my savings. I cashed in my 401k plan. I maxed out my credit cards. And in a sense of desperation, I reached out to a coach and things started to look up for me. So what was this struggle? I jumped out from the frying pan into the fire because I had one source of income. And that was my day job. Well, I jumped over to another single source of income, and it was just through my print books and ebooks at the time. Financial security is an illusion, folks, especially when you're relying on one revenue source. That one basket to put all your eggs into becomes scary, folks. What happens when the proverbial poo-poo hits the fans? Trying to keep it family friendly here today, folks. Unless you have a bug out bag, in other words, an AKA a financial nest egg and a backup plan, you're in a worse position than you started, because becoming an online entrepreneur is something that's not easy. A lot of people are going to fool you into believing that, yes, it is easy, but you could see, according to my facial expression inside this little slide here, that was how I was feeling. But some of those things changed when I started to embrace something I told you, diversification. This is smart business. Smart business means trying to get it to where you have a couple more irons in the fire, a little more skin in the game, in a way that if for some reason one avenue dries up, you at least have a few other avenues taken care of you. So I'm going to tell you about 7 ways to monetize your brand. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, here we go. It's a multi-level marketing plan, Dale. It's one of those scammy pyramid schemes. No, it's not that. I'm just going to sell you in an opportunity minus the cringe factor and sketchiness. What I'm not going to tell you is to spread yourself too thin. No, don't. You heard what I said when we first started out here. My big mission in life was to live life on my own terms and spend time with my family. I'm not trying to tell you to sacrifice your family or your faith in order to actually make a living. So don't spread yourself too thin. This is going to require real and consistent effort, meaning that I'm not going to tell you a bunch of micro movements that's going to create the maximum results. Sure, in a perfect world, we'd all like to be doing that, but the fact of the matter is it's not quite that. It's going to take some time and some effort. And the one thing I'm not going to promise you is ludicrous paydays. That's just ridiculous. Anybody that says, I made $10,000 and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it too. Results may vary, folks. That's why I say there's going to be some things I'm going to recommend that might work for you right now, and some things maybe a little later down the line. But eventually you will come back and say to me, man, Dale, you were right. My gosh. So what I am going to tell you, the 80-20 rule. You ever hear of the Pareto principle? It essentially works like this. 20% of the effort that you put into your business brings in 80% of the results. 80% of your efforts brings in 20%. You see that little bit of a issue right there? We got to kind of focus on that 20% so that way we can really move the needle and become more than just an author and be paid for our efforts. So where the energy goes, where the focus goes is where the energy flows. All right. So that is really what you got to focus on. If you're split in 50,000 different directions, understand this, that you may not get very much good results. So I'd say find what moves the needle and do more of it. Meaning what is getting you the most results, and then double down and you keep doing that. Then micro invest your time in other areas. So you remember that 80-20 rule I was telling you about? So we say 20% drives 80% of our results. Well, then there's the 80%. We're just going to kind of micro invest some time in some of these areas. So I want you to kind of think about that as we're going through some of these 7 ideas. Before we do jump into those ones, I need you to understand this. Know your brand. You absolutely need to know your brand. You need to know your message, and you absolutely need to know your audience. Never stray away from your core philosophy. Whatever it is that resonates in your heart and in your life is what you should always stick to. Don't sacrifice integrity, because nothing worse than getting this amazing paycheck but feeling like dirt because you sacrificed something that means something to you. Always honor the relationship that you have with your audience and potential readers. So that means that don't change on them. Be you, be authentic, and always lead with who you are as a person, because people are watching. And in due time, as your brand starts to grow, you're going to see it's going to invite so many more people that are going to be inspired by you. And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what you should be doing is inspire other ones, lift them up, raise other people up in your life. And that includes the people that follow you and invest in you. All right. Let's start out with monetization number 1. We got 7 of them to burn through here, folks. So method number 1, we're just going to get it right out the gate. I know this whole presentation's called Monetizing Beyond the Books, but we have to actually discuss the books, because I see a lot of authors run into some issues when it comes to this. There are 3 publication types. There's ebooks, print books, and audiobooks. Remember how I was telling you about John earlier? He only did ebooks. That's my cringe face. All right. Yeah. He should have definitely invested in print books. He should have definitely invested in audiobooks. In fact, print books could easily done something in paperback and hardcover. The more publication iterations you could put onto the market, the more opportunities people have to invest in you and discover you, more importantly. The best first steps, if you've never published a book before, I recommend just go where the crowd is the most. Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing is a great avenue. Audiobook Creation Exchange is another great avenue. Both are going to be able to handle your print and ebook and your audiobooks respectively. The goal of using these different avenues is you're advertising your brand. This equals more exposure. The more products you have, the more ability you have to be discovered. And on top of that, you're scratching an itch for the customer. Let's just say, for instance, I love audiobooks. Sometimes I can't be bothered to order a print book or an ebook because I just don't have the time to sit down and read it. So I'll get that downloadable audiobook. Can you imagine if I showed up to your page, I was ready to go ahead and get your latest science fiction, fantasy, romance, or whatever it might be, and then for whatever reason, you don't have an audiobook? Well, there's the problem. Because now I had the opportunity to become your reader, but you missed that opportunity. So, how to write to publish a book. We could sit here and talk about that till the cows come home. But since we got 7 points, I want to make sure we keep hitting each one of those ones. Just remember, write it yourself, dictate it, ghostwrite it, get it edited, formatted, all that type of jazz. Great resource for starting. You can go look up some YouTube videos. I think Jen's already kind of pretty much pushed the channel that I have here. There's other ones beyond me. And as well, you can actually get free courses out there. Like Kindle Direct Publishing has one called Jumpstart. It shows you how to do ebooks and print books. Great way to start. All right, let's get on to other monetization avenues, because I think some of you that are more experienced in the arena of writing and publishing are probably wondering, okay, all right, what's the next ones here? And then guess inside the chat if you know what these next 6 ones are going to be. I bet you're not going to get all of them. Method number 2, translation rights. Nobody's talking about this. Why is that? Translation rights. Now, keep in mind, you have different copyright applied and distribution rights applied to each one of your publication iterations of ebooks, print books, and audiobooks. If for whatever reason you decide to yourself, I want to sell the rights to my audiobook, but keep the rights to my ebook and print book, you could probably reach out to somebody and they might buy the rights from you and they distribute it and they collect the whole royalties for that. Translation rights work somewhat in the same vein. It's completely different and separate from the other ones. So you've done the one work. Let's say you've published that book and it's done well. Why don't you think about other languages that you can translate your book into? That way, there's more options for customers to discover you in other languages. You can look into things like Spanish, Portuguese, German, Italian, French, so much more. There's so many avenues you can look into this. Now, let's just say you're like, I don't have the time or the money to be dealing with translations. That's okay. There's a number of platforms out there. I'll leave it up to you to Google this up, that you can find that you can sell your translation rights to somebody. Now, in most instances, a buyer is more intrigued if you've at least had proof of concept, meaning that your English version has sold quite a few copies. So if there's proof of concept, they're more likely to part ways with their hard-earned money. So look that up. A great resource, by the way, is the Alliance of Independent Authors. They have fantastic resources on there, and they might be able to recommend you to anybody that will do translations for you, or you can even sell your translations rights to. Don't rest on translation rights. It is a highly untapped market. All right. Method number 3, email. Email, baby. I heard somebody say about a couple years ago, email marketing is dead. Those people either A, don't know what they're talking about, or B, they want to take all the business for themselves, because email marketing is still alive and well. I want you to think about building out an email list of all of your readers and your subscribers. It is your insurance policy. Kind of like what I mentioned at the very beginning, where John didn't have an email list. Bruce had an email list. He had a way to let people know, hey, they kind of kicked me off this platform. Don't know why. Could you follow me on over here? That was his insurance policy. Can you imagine how hard it would have been for Bruce to have moved his following that was getting him over on YouTube over to the new platform of Vimeo? It would have been tough. It's the greatest leverage for all monetization options mentioned. In fact, if you walk away from my talk today with at least one point being diversifying, the other one should be email marketing. Get on top of it. It doesn't need to be sexy here, folks. You really need to look at different services. I like MailerLite. There's MailChimp. There's Aweber. There's Infusionsoft. There's so many more. Just Google it on up. I would recommend, if you're strapped for cash, look into some free options. MailerLite does have one. They're not paying me to say this. When you do email marketing, keep it simple. Okay? Keep it super simple. The KISS method, if you will. Sign up for relevant news, updates, and special insider deals. That's it. Put it inside the front of your book. Put it inside the back of your book. Put it on social media. Put it on your mom's fridge, because she's definitely going to subscribe to you. Either way, keep it simple and communicate with them on a regular basis. At least once per month, I would recommend once per week. Stay front of mind with your readers. So that way they don't subscribe and like 2 years later, you email them like, hey, I just decided I'm going to go ahead and start sending you some information. They're going to be like, who are you? Yeah, spam, block. Stay front of mind. So don't start an email list unless you plan on communicating with them. And a lot of people say, I don't know what to say. You're a writer. You're creative. Come up with things, some points that you can discuss. Think about, if you're a fiction writer, what's some of the content that you like reading? Share that. How did you develop some of your worlds or your character traits? If you're a nonfiction writer, gosh, you could talk about what you know best and share that with people. But either way, keep it simple. Moving along, I don't think anybody's going to be guessing all 7 of these. I'm going to tell you this. Method number 4, video. Video is awesome. It is more accessible than ever. In fact, 80% of online traffic is derived from video content streaming. Everything from YouTube to Twitch to Facebook have what's called a monetization program. For instance, the YouTube has the partner program, and the partner program allows AdSense connection, which means they'll show ads on your videos and you get paid for every time an ad's served out there. They have channel memberships, which means people can subscribe to your channel for a premium, kind of think like Patreon, but for YouTube. There's super chats if you go live, so people are able to donate money towards the cause and help you out, and so on and so forth. Twitch has got the affiliate and partner program. Amazon Prime Video Direct. Not many people realize this is another avenue to tap into, and other platforms include Facebook for Creators, DLive. Just Google up anywhere that you are most interested and go with it. If I recommend anywhere to start, YouTube's fantastic. Big point is, do not rely solely on advertisers to pay your bills. So meaning there's going to come some times where it's feast and famine, especially on YouTube. I'll assure you that you're going to get some great paydays from the AdSense, but there's other times where for whatever reason, it might be the time of year, maybe the niche topic, that check's going to drop down. Just think of video platform monetization programs as just another way to add another stream of income and also advertise your brand. That's going to be the thing. Even if you don't utilize the video platforms for their monetization programs, I want you to think about it as a way of getting in front of more eyeballs. And the more that people can see the whites of your eyes or have a conversation directly with you through video, the more invested they are, the more it develops that know, like, and trust factor to where they feel like they're part of your tribe. So that is the most important thing when it comes to video. And the most important thing too is just start. And don't be afraid to tell people it's a pretty big deal. You're an author. Hey, I'm an author of XYZ. And today we're going to be talking about blah, blah, blah. All right. Monetization method number 5, affiliate marketing. Now, I had a conversation with my certified public accountant, my CPA, and it was kind of crazy because over the last couple of years, this particular avenue has been the most lucrative for me personally. Affiliate marketing works like this, in that you like a brand, product, or service. And when you recommend that brand, product, and service, that brand, product, and service will pay you a percentage of all referrals that purchase from their platform. Not bad, right? Think of it like this. I went to a movie, it had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it. Because, I mean, who doesn't like him? Totally joking here. There's probably a lot of people. But nonetheless, I enjoyed it. So then I come up to you and I say, oh, dude, you got to go over. AMC's running this movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You got to check it out. Now imagine you go and you check it out. And when you buy a ticket, AMC calls me up and says, hey, Dale, you sent somebody over here, so we're going to give you a couple bucks. Thanks. Everybody is naturally inclined to want to share things because it's a human experience. Everyone wants to kind of be part of that experience. So affiliate marketing is one of the ways to go. So here's what you're going to need to do. Think about what is going to be relevant to your brand. What is something that is going to work with your brand? So let's just say, for instance, that you're a handwriting expert. Maybe you find the Amazon Associates program and you tell them your favorite paper, your favorite pens, maybe some calligraphy pens, maybe ink, things like that. And you recommend that traffic over towards that direction. You get paid for it. Now, the important thing is, how do you find those affiliate programs? Google's your friend. Literally, all you have to do is type in the name of the product, service, or brand plus affiliate program. Then sign up. It's just that simple. And then you get a link from the affiliate program and you recommend people towards that link and you get paid for it. I'm telling you, do not rest on affiliate programs. Just remember this. Always fully disclose your relationship with that brand. So just something as simple as, hey, if you would like to try out these calligraphy pens, take a look at over my affiliate link. By the way, if you purchase this, a small portion of sales comes back and benefits me, but it does not adversely affect the cost of your calligraphy pen. So moving forward, because man, we got a couple more before we wrap things up here today, because method number 6 is the 3 C's. Technically 4, but don't beat me up on this one. Course creation, consulting, and coaching. If you've got skills or you've got knowledge, you've got a course. There is somebody out there that is just wanting to know what it is that you're doing so they could be able to duplicate that. Part of the success of Self-Publishing with Dale started out back in 2016. I was interviewed on 2 different channels devoted to self-publishing. At the time, I didn't have a channel. I was just sharing my success as a best-selling author for fitness books. And the next thing I know, I get inundated with questions. And it took me away from my business of writing and publishing. So I said, let me go ahead and put out this YouTube video. And then I did another YouTube video. And then I did another YouTube video. And before I know it, I realized, oh my gosh, people really want to learn this. I thought that this was common sense. Like people can find this, but no, that's not the case. Now, some of you fiction authors out there go, Dale, this is all well and good. I can't create a course. Come on. I mean, like, what? Am I going to tell people like how to write fiction characters? Yes, absolutely. Creativity does not come to everybody as easily as it does to some others. Use that ability that you have. People need that in their lives. It can make a huge difference. If you really want to level that up, what I would say is think of goodwill. How can you be of service to the world? Because the more you are of service to other people, the more that you will get out of life. So make sure that you're doing that. Monetization number 7. Did everybody guess all 7, by the way? I want to know inside the chat. Let me know. Method number 7, sponsorships and brand deals. Now, this is the next level. If you're brand new to the business, and you're looking at sponsorships and brand deals, like, oh my gosh, yeah, I haven't published anything, but I'm going to land a sponsorship deal because I watched Dale do a keynote speech over at the WWJ author conference. You might want to slow down just a little bit. All right. This is going to be the next level. When you start to build more of a following, when you have the email marketing in place, when you have a few books underneath your belt, when you got a platform, when you're working some type of affiliate program, so you got course creation, consulting, and coaching, sponsorship and brand deals is the best way to go. One of the recommendations I would say is this: create a press kit. Inside that press kit, you're going to include your picture of you, your bio, and any relevant links and any relevant information. Because when a brand reaches out to you, one of the worst things you can do is just email them back and go, oh, I do this and this. No, wow them with a press kit. You literally can go over to canva.com and look up press kit on there or media kit, and you will see they have templates you could just fill in. Super easy. Brands or services are going to approach you, believe it or not. As you start to become a little bit more famous and you're a bit more accessible, they're going to reach out to you. Be selective. Remember that whole integrity thing and not soiling it? All right. Or you don't wait. Approach the brands or services that you do like. Tell them why it's going to make sense for them to sponsor you, give you money to share their product to your audience. Give them a good reason why. What I typically do is I'll put together a proposal of some sort that will tell them what they'll get out of it, how much they have to pay, and what type of expectations that you should set for both in the process. One of my preferred ways of doing things when it comes to doing sponsorship brand deals, okay, and if you're a sponsor or a potential sponsor or a brand, here's a little secret. Everybody's getting to know my secret here is this: always connect via video chat. Here's why. When somebody can be able to see the whites of your eyes and they can connect with you and they can see your emotional response as you're chatting with them, there's a bit more of a connection. They're less apt to say no. You're able to overcome any kind of exceptions or concerns, as opposed to if you were just doing it on email. And don't get me wrong, you could still land some sponsorship deals and brand deals through email, but by getting on video chat, you've greatly increased the odds in your favor. Do your own due diligence about a brand. What's their product? How much do they earn per acquisition? Does their product make sense with your brand? Remember, integrity? Yep. Do they have a good reputation? And what are their customers saying? And most importantly, do they have an affiliate program? Because I'll tell you this, anytime I do a sponsorship deal, I want to make sure they have an affiliate deal because I'm double dipping then. And not only am I going to get paid for sharing their information, but I'm going to get paid for every time someone buys something from them. Really works out very nicely. When you do pitch them on a proposal, you want a good, better, best model. Always pitch the best model when you're on a video chat. Don't mention the other models because otherwise they're going to be like, oh, let's just go ahead and get that cheap one. Tell them the best model. Let them review the lesser models after you send them a proposal. And typically you could just do a nice little form. Again, Canva is a great resource. I use a program called Nusii. It's spelled N-U-S-I-I. You can go to nusii.com. Fantastic service. I can't remember how much it is, but I've more than made up my money from that one. And then ask for permission to follow up in 1 week. It's so important before you disconnect from your video chat. Is it okay if I follow up with another week? And chances are likely to say, yeah, absolutely. And then that's your time. Set an alarm on your phone so you don't forget and get a hold of them Do that. Also create a sense of urgency. Let brands know what they stand to lose if they don't work with you now, because you're going to be reaching out to other brands. Chances are very likely if they don't act now and working with you, they might miss out and a competitor might take over that spot. So 7 of those avenues. Here's the closing here. Diversification is the name of the game, folks. Don't just be an author. Be an online entrepreneur that you could be able to cover all facets. Be of value to your readers, to your followers, and it will pay back tenfold. I promise you. Start out with building out your catalog. If you haven't written a book, write it, publish it, get it in ebook, get it in print book, get it in audiobook. And by the way, bonus to you, if you're able to get 2 versions of print in paperback and hardcover. Translate your titles if you're able to. It's just another avenue and another window to a different audience that would probably enjoy the content that you have. Build an email list. Build a presence in video. It doesn't need to be fancy. You don't have to have a big, fantastic background like I have here. This took years to build up here, folks. If you're just new to this, you got a phone, you got internet access, shoot. That's all you need. I got a good friend of mine, Walter Wyburn. He blew up to over 100,000 subscribers in a little over a year. And get this, the quality on his camera is 360p. I did not know that still existed these days. I thought 720 was the lowest you could go, maybe 480. He's at 360. And he got 100,000 subscribers. He doesn't edit his videos. He shoots and he uploads them. And people buy his books on his website. Promote affiliate products you believe and can stand behind. Create a course, offer coaching and consulting. Don't rest on the course, coaching, and consulting area. You've got a skill, share it with somebody because they'd be willing to pay top dollar to learn what you have and apply it for themselves. And then last but not least, that top tier is land sponsorships and brand deals. So we're wrapping things up. Did you guess the 7 models here, the monetization avenues? Of those 7 avenues, how many of those have you been able to get? I'd love to hear from each and every single one of you. Reach out to me should you have any questions. Hopefully Jen is on standby here. I know she's probably getting a little bit of a water break. She's been running crazy.
I'm right here.
Excellent. Good stuff. So, all right. So we said we were going to poll 5 winners to get a copy of the Amazon Self-Publisher. I'm going to leave it up to you on the 5 people you go ahead and select.
All right. I am taking notes. I'm going through all the chat. The chat has blown up this entire time, Dale, with so many comments. We want to thank you so much for sharing all of your advocacy tips, which, yeah, the expert is what we call you. And I loved how someone called you the Jedi earlier into the chat. So yes, you have reached Jedi status with us here at the WWJs. So we want to just thank you so much. And Luke, we have tons of questions that's in the chat.
Excellent. Load me up.
All right. So I'm scrolling in. We have people from all over the United States. So welcome to everybody. Love that, how we started. So we get to see what people are working on, from nonfiction, to fiction work, poetry.
Nice.
Yep, getting kicked off platforms is becoming more common, and that's so much less stress if you diversify.
Yes, Ruth, banana sticker. Like, honestly, Ruth, this is yours. Just hit me up, Dale at selfpublishingwithdale.com. I'll send it out to the mail you right now, Ruth.
Because when you hear the word diversify, you might say, wow, that's just too much. I'm overwhelmed. When in fact, Ruth, you've got it. It's less stress when you do that. So love that.
Yes, love it.
So we've got podcasters and YouTubers on here too.
Oh, good stuff.
Yes. So I'm going to, oh yeah, see, I didn't make that up. Do you see SL Michaels? She has her own.
It's Samantha. Samantha, by the way, you should get connected with Samantha. She's another great resource in self-publishing.
I already told her, she popped in that she had a YouTube. I told her I'm going over to subscribe, and I have given her like hugs in the chat. So,
Yes.
hooray. All
Personal
right.
friend of mine. I really love Samantha. She's awesome.
Awesome. Way to go. Thanks for being here. All right. So I'm going off through, I talked about just how many of the videos of yours that I've watched over the past 3 years. It has been phenomenal what you have to offer on your channel. You know, you talk about value. You've got it, Dale.
Thank you so much.
So the question is like, is it in the moment? Are you going through your author journey and you're picking hot topics that are actually happening to you and around you within the author community? Because you have such varied topics on your channel that really do hit a wide breadth of knowledge. So talk to us a little bit about, if you're going that video route, you know, what inspires you to go after particular topics?
It's typically the audience. Starting out, it was just, I had that small amount of exposure on those two channels that I had a lot of DMs and emails and such that it was hard to keep up. So my thought was kill two birds with one stone. Just really try to, I'm like, you know what? Let me just put a video up. And anytime someone asks this, I'll send them on over towards that direction. And then after a while, I would say after being a couple years in the business, you just get a sense for what people are looking for based on what they're watching, how long they're watching it for, and how you were discovered. And a place like YouTube is fantastic because you can actually look into the analytics, deep dive into it. I mean, I know I'm a talker, and sometimes people just tune right out. They're like, I'm done hearing this. This guy does not get right to the point. Well, that's not me. I like to bloviate a little bit, you know? So
we have a question. What's the first mini step? So Michelle is here. She has written a children's book and romance, sweet romance. I can hold her books up. Oh, nice. She's also one of our hosts. So she's advocating for the next best step. So what's the next best step for someone who's just starting out to take to diversify, a mini step? She's got the books already. So that means that she's already got at least that first step. The next step is going to be is building out that email list. It's a little bit more tough when you're dealing with children's books because obviously you can't market towards children. So you need to make sure you're marketing towards the parents who are buying the book. So just something as simple as putting a call to action in the beginning and the end of the book. Entice them with something. Maybe they get, I don't know, the ABCs of second grade or something like that as a downloadable report, or even just something as, hey, if you enjoy some of this and you want to get free advanced copies of future kids books, join my email list. Email list should be the very first step right after publishing. In fact, it probably should be a step right before publishing, because when you go to fire off your book, you already have it in place. Yes, and we had different people commenting about, of course, I said that I loved my email list people. I just adore them. And I send out at least 2 a month. But you said like at least like maybe even once a week, or what is like your typical amount? Are you doing once a week or you do more? I did for the longest time, probably about daily. We found though that we were getting a lot of drop off. It's knowing your audience in advance. Figure out how often they want to hear from you. Like say, hey, what's going to be the appropriate amount of times for me to send out something? And people will tell you like straight up, like, I really don't want you in my email inbox that much. And sometimes they'll just go ahead and unsubscribe. But once per month just keeps you in front of mind. I think twice per month, that's great. Once per week definitely keeps you front of mind, but it does get to a point where you have to be become very creative with the email, because you don't want to continually be inside your email list going, and I think it might have been Diana who was on before for me here. So buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. No, that's really weird. Someone just was like, they had enough trust to give you their email. One of the worst things you can do is beat them up with your book. Provide value. I think Gary Vaynerchuk put it best where he said, jab, 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 right hook. That's the title of his book. You get the idea, which is provide value, provide value, provide value, provide value, and then, hey, you know what? I got this book over here. It's kind of sweet. It's a pretty big deal. It's actually got this 5-star review on it and this 1-star review. So we have people, Luke said, now I'm going to be thinking about mine. So good, Luke. I'm so glad. And we have Samantha was giving out tips and talking about how Canva is just an amazing place. Yes, we love Canva. Great resource. Another tip was signing up for other authors' email list will also give you ideas for your own. And it can also do like reader preference. Like, what do you prefer in your inbox? How do you like it to come to you? So yes, signing up. That's a good idea.
Yep. Learn by example. Success leaves breadcrumbs. Follow those breadcrumbs and you'll be able to find it.
And so Anne said she wants to refine her email list because she's using a group type list and not really getting a traction that she feels like she needs. And so I love that refining, always considering and growing and looking at your analytics. Like Dale, you talked about video analytics, you know, the same way.
Yeah. When it comes to email list hygiene is absolutely paramount. If you have somebody that's not opening your emails, I hate to say this, and I don't mean to sound so crass about it, but boot them off, get them out. They shouldn't be on your space. Like if it's been 90 days, it's been 3 months, they haven't opened up a single email. Either A, you're landing in their spam folder, which is bad for you, or B, they just see your stuff and they go, it's just not important for them. Remove them from your list. It's better to have a list of 50 engaged email subscribers versus 5,000 unengaged email subscribers.
Yeah. So Luke said, you mentioned how often to send out emails. About how often should you post videos?
Ooh, this is going to vary per each one of the experts that you're going to hear from YouTube. Weekly is typically the gold standard, but don't just pump out content for the sake of pumping out content. A great YouTuber, look him up. His name's Mark Rober. Mark Rober puts out fantastic content. He only does it once per month. Each one of his videos are just brilliant. He did like the glitter bomb where like porch pirates were stealing his stuff. And so he created a glitter bomb. So when people stole it, he was able to video them and glitter went everywhere.
Yes, I remember that. So we got his name down to go check out. And Luke also has his ministries. He has started his own YouTube channel. So congratulations to Luke. We're going to give you that Luke. Special shout out right now. So tips on courses. So if you have your book and you know it's the one to do, what is your first tip on like platform for courses? Do you have any, or are you going to give us that, Google, there's so many?
Yeah, there really is so many. Let me give you a couple of just popular options. The one that I currently use is called Thinkific. Thinkific's a fantastic platform. Teachable is another one. Might I recommend one that's probably a little bit more inexpensive? So if you're kind of the person that you're like, oh, I can't invest in Thinkific or Teachable, Gumroad. My wife had launched a course to astonishing success on Gumroad. I was like, get Thinkific. She's like, oh, it's too difficult and it costs money. And I'm like, okay, whatever, go do Gumroad. And sure enough, her first day, she like shows me her sales. I was like, I'll shut up now.
Love it. And so good, guys. We've got Thinkific, Teachable, Gumroad. Got it all written down because that was one of my questions, Dale. I did a workshop and I had a WWJ workshop for the Monarch Method, and I was like, courses are next. But I've got it as my next, but I haven't went to that next step. So you've lit a fire. I'm ready. Oh, look at Ruth. I'm so proud. Look at her. Doing videos sounds scary, but I just need to get out of my comfort zone and connect with others.
Okay, so Ruth, I'm going to share something very personal here with you, and I'm going to share with everybody else here. I am an introvert at heart. When I get in front of a camera, I just know it's about business. Right now, I will tell you this. I am dying inside. I am literally dying inside. Usually after I get off a video, I'm mentally and physically spent. It takes everything out of me. But the things that it has brought back to my life has been exponentially higher. It has paid off, and it almost just, it keeps stacking higher and higher incrementally. It's incredible. So it's the compounding return is what it's happening here with me. So Ruth, start today because your future self is going to thank you.
I love that advice. That's for all of us. So when you're working, do you do audio as well? Do you convert your videos to audio, some of them to put on a podcast audio, or do you just strictly stick with YouTube?
I do. Actually, when I first started doing podcasts, I was getting my assistant to go and strip the MP3 from my MP4 videos, but I was finding that there wasn't very good retention. People weren't going and listening to my podcast episodes as much as I would have liked to have. So I was like, I'm a podcast listener. And I'm like, I wouldn't listen to my podcast because I could just go over to YouTube or have YouTube Premium and I can listen to that way. So that's when I decided to start streaming my podcast recordings on Twitch. This year, I just switched over from Twitch over to YouTube full time because the podcast channel became fully monetized. So, and by the way, I have 3 different channels: Self-Publishing with Dale podcast channel, and also Live Streaming Tech. Those are fully monetized. I have 2 in the wings that are getting ready to get monetized as well. When I say diversify, that's something I live by.
Yes, awesome. Congratulations for all of that. Luke's asked another question. Do you suggest reading your own book as an audiobook or getting someone else to do it? He just wrote his book, his memoir, about when he went blind in an instant, and it is about to be released in August, maybe sometime soon. So would you suggest him reading his audiobook or getting someone else to do it?
Luke, if you can do it, do it. I'm saying this to all authors as well. If you are able to narrate your audiobook, that's fine. If you don't have the equipment, it's going to seem overwhelming, so you're probably going to have to invest in it. I myself just started doing my own audiobooks over the last year, and there's a local studio that costs me about $50 per hour to go in and record it, and he handles all the engineering and such like that. So I would say one book probably cost me about $300. But you think about how much you have to pay for a narrator. Narrators typically can cost anywhere from $50 bargain basement per finished hour to as much as $250 or more. I've heard some people charge $600 per finished hour. Per finished hour, by the way, folks, is what people listenable content. So if your book's 1 hour, that's 1 hour of finished content. So that's why it's a little higher when someone is like, hey, I charge $600 per finished hour. And you're kind of going, oh my gosh, that's expensive. But you think about, they've got to prepare for it. They've got to edit it. They got to master it. They've got to upload it, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes. So don't try to just go for bargain basement. Try to find a good quality narrator. But Luke, given the opportunity, if you have the ability, you have a local studio or you have the equipment, record it yourself, because readers are going to be more invested in you when they can hear you.
All right, we've got a couple more questions. In your experience, do you think people buy more hardcover books or normal softcover ones?
Nice question. Now, I've only got data from more recently. I think it was a year or 2 old, but the vast majority of global publication profits are derived from print, meaning paperback and hardcover. Now, unit sales all together are more over an ebook, but obviously ebooks, you aren't getting as much money per each one of them. Long story short, hardcover sells by a fraction. Sells more as far as profits versus paperback. But paperback's a bit more accessible and easier to publish. So I would just recommend go with paperback first, and when you have the discretionary expense, add hardcover to it as well.
So Samantha said, hey, Dale, YouTube shorts are full length.
Oh, shorts is still so untapped and kind of an X factor for me. So I'm not going to be able to weigh in very much. I'm doing really well on TikTok, getting ready to break 1,000 followers over there. And I've only been putting an effort in like the last couple of months, and more importantly, in the last like couple of weeks. But for me, long form all the way.
Awesome. All right. And being kind of new to YouTube, what are your thoughts on merchandising?
That's one area. Actually, number 8 that I didn't mention. I kept it off because I was like, 7 sound like a good round number. 8 didn't sound really good. Merchandising. Yes. Get yourself merchandise, whether you're a fiction author or a nonfiction author. I had a client of mine who actually is a romance author, and she wore a shirt where she's like said, like, all my favorite characters are at whatever the location was. She wore it everywhere. And it was funny. She stopped at her doctor's clinic and they asked about it. She's like, oh, I'm getting ready to publish a book. So she was able to build hype through that. But yeah, merchandise, you can get merchandise done through places like Merch by Amazon. Spring, it used to be called Teespring's another one. That's one I use for YouTube.
Me too. Yeah.
Spreadshirt's a good one. Zazzle, there's a number of them. A lot of these merchandising sites, by the way, you don't have to pay a dime. It's much like Kindle Direct Publishing or most print-on-demand platforms in that it's free to upload, and it's what's called a rev share. In other words, a revenue share. They take a portion of all the profits at the end of the day, which I'm okay with that if I don't have to pay for the hosting or the traffic.
Right. All right. We have Judy said, I have a YouTube channel and a WP website. Is it important to upload them to the website? Because she doesn't have much traffic on there, but how about YouTube videos to website?
Yes, absolutely. One should lead to the other one. You need to have some type of a cyclical like nature to everything you do. In the videos, you're sending them to your website, and your website, you're sending them over to your videos. Funny story. I built selfpublishingwithdale.com, gosh, probably a year into me being on YouTube. And I just was using it to backlink or build some relevancy on my YouTube videos. It became my dumping ground. Next thing I know, I'm getting like 300 to 1,000 hits per day. And I think it's up to like probably like 1,300, maybe more, like unique visitors coming to the website. So Judy, absolutely. If you can put some type of context, I would say maybe put a blog version of that video and then embed that video in there. So that way people can be able to watch it and see more. And here's a little bit of a bonus one. And I think, Jen, you're going to love this one as well. Instead of just sharing the video by itself, drop the video into a playlist. Then you're going to go and watch it from inside the playlist, but don't hit the share button. You're going to go up in the browser URL. There's a long, ugly looking link. Grab that link, because when you drop it into your WordPress site, it's going to put the playlist there. So when someone's done watching your one video, they will binge watch over and over and over again. Playlists, by the way, they're the best thing on YouTube. To be honest, it was probably one of the main ways that I was able to monetize 3 channels.
Love it. Love it so much. You have taught us so much. I knew you would. And when I felt led to reach out to you, I was like, open these doors, Lord, open these doors. And Dale, I want to say thank you so much for accepting the call and being here with us as our keynote speaker. I've dropped the winners down into the chat. Ann Wrights, Inspiration, S.L. Michaels, Tish Bouvier, Luke Seibert, and D. Irby. You guys, I've got an opportunity to get a hold of Dale's books. So, Dale, I've got their names down here, and I want you guys to email me, jenlowrywrites@gmail.com. Or, Dale, do you want them to email you specifically?
Well, I'll get you the email, or
Okay.
I'll get you the link to get the books and such like that. So, thank you so much, Jen, for having me on here. It's been so awesome to have the keynote here. So, I think there's an awesome conference, folks. Make sure you stick around the rest of this weekend. There's a lot of great topics, and the people that have spoke already. Diana, love your presentation, by the way.
Yay. All right. Diana said thanks. Tish is yay. Shay, yay. Everybody, guys, we want to thank you again so much. Dale, you have a great, blessed evening. To that wife and that cat, give them hugs from us and from our family to yours. We want to just say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Join us at 6 o'clock. It's about to start. We got Kimmy Larson. She is the co-owner of Monster Ivy Publishing. You do not want to miss it. She's going to be talking to us about how to pitch to publishing companies and what you need to consider about your first 5 pages. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all in a few minutes.